So have you ever wondered why people don't want to go out and get work when they're on Job Seekers Allowance? Well, it's not that they don't want to, it's probably that it's not worth their time to go and do that. I'll explain more clearly. I've been a person at full-time work since I've had probably about 2 months off one summer when I wasn't working because I was at university since I was about 13. I've had odd jobs all my life. It comes to the point now where I'm not working, and I haven't worked since the beginning of December, and I'm finally claiming Job Seekers Allowance. I got offered a job, a full-time position. However, they're not offering me the full-time position, and I've got the job. However, they're not offering me the full-time position straight away. They're offering me part-time training, building up until they can afford to put me on the full, until they can afford to put me on full-time, employ me full-time. And so I've been trying to research and find out if it's financially viable for me to do that, if it's any better for me to go and work for this company part-time whilst I'm on benefits, because there's lots of restrictions. So I'm going to explain to you now how that works. Aha, there we go. Right, couldn't be bothered to set the tripod up, so I've used a DVD box set to put the camera on. Professional, yes. I never pretended to be professional, did I? Never mind. Right, I'm going to try and explain to you guys the problem, the conundrum that I have at the moment. I'm going to try and do it in the most simple way possible, but it's not going to be a simple explanation because the benefit system isn't simple to explain. So let's start. I applied for a job as part of my Job Seekers Allowance requirements, and I applied for a full-time job. I could work a full-time job no problem. Went to the interviews, completed both interviews and got offered the job. However, I wasn't offered the job that I applied for. I was offered a part-time position leading up to the full-time position, which would start in April. I've then gone to find out how many hours I'm allowed to work and things while still on Job Seekers Allowance, because you are allowed to work while on Job Seekers Allowance. So the answer is 16. However, I've been told by people at Department of Work for Pensions and the Job Seekers Allowance team that I can work up to 24 because I'm on a joint claim. It's not true. I can only work myself under 16 hours, and my partner can then work another 8 to make it up to under 24 hours. So if I were to work over 15 hours and 59 minutes, I would receive no Job Seekers Allowance whatsoever. It would be completely wiped out. I wouldn't get any at all. And my Job Seekers Allowance is income based, so that means that anything I earn is deducted from my Job Seekers Allowance. That's my net earnings, so that not what you gross earn, it's after your tax and national insurance. Whatever you receive actually physically cash into your bank account is removed from your Job Seekers Allowance. With me so far, okay? Right? Please, bear with me. So I was working out the differences between what I would earn working and what I would earn not working. Now, they do deduct the full amount, the net amount that you receive, but you are allowed to earn a whole £10, and you're allowed to keep that. They don't take that off of you. So the first £10 you earn working at your job, you get that actually added to your Job Seekers Allowance. The easiest way to look at it is, if your net earnings that you have, that you've worked for, that making sure you're working under 16 hours, are below your total income-based Job Seekers Allowance, then you just basically add £10 to your Job Seekers Allowance. So in our case, it's £114 plus £10, so £124.85p is what we would get in total. So that's £10 extra a week. You're thinking, yes, well, you've increased your you've increased your monetary income. That's great, surely. But it's not great, because the place that I've been asked to work, well, the place that I applied for to work isn't local, so I've got to pay to get there. So my commuting fee to that place to work 2 days, which would add up to, I've been offered 2 or 3 days, so my commuting fee to get there, 2 days would be £12, for 3 days would be £18. That's my return ticket, and that would include about a half an hour walk to the train station every day, and a 20-minute on the other end to the place of work, because it's obviously not at the train station where I'm working. So if I work 2 days, I get 2 days work. That's approximately 14 hours, maybe 14 and a half hours. So that is under the hours allowance I'm allowed to work on JSA. I would earn only £10 more. With all the calculations done, I would only get £10 extra than I'm getting currently, and that would go towards my travel, and actually it would cost me more to travel, so I'd actually be down by £2 if I work 2 days a week. Now, I've been offered 3 days. You might think, brilliant, go on, have 3 days a week. I know you get no job seekers allowance, but, you know, work 3 days, that'd be fine. But it doesn't work out fine, because if I'm working 3 days a week, I get less than my job seekers allowance is, working 3 days, and I would receive 110, roughly after tax, about 110 quid. So that's already £4 less than I'm currently getting on job seekers allowance. Then minus the £18 it would cost me to travel there, I'd be down nearly £24, £22 I'd be down, instead of just not working and spending my time with my daughter or searching for other jobs. Next, I thought, there is a thing I've heard about called working tax credits. That sounds fascinating, so maybe I could use that, start working and use the working tax credits to boost my money up to where I need to be. Now, this is a conundrum I didn't know about within the benefit system, but I've discovered. So within the benefit system, if you work under 16 hours, you can have job seekers allowance, as I mentioned before. That's brilliant. And if you work over 24 hours, you are allowed to claim working tax credits. If you're between those two things, over 16 hours but under 24 hours, you then don't qualify for this job seekers allowance. You don't get that at all. You can't apply for that. So working 3 days would only give me, at a 9 to 5 job, with an hour's lunch, 21 hours. Even with the, it would make just 24 hours if I worked through my lunch. Then I'd be able to claim tax credits. So, if I claimed tax credits, now, if I worked all 3 days at 8 hours a day, which I don't believe the place isn't even open for that many hours, without a lunch break that is, I would make the 24-hour mark. Then I would be able to claim tax credits. Job seekers would be out the window because I'm working 24 hours, but I'd be able to get these things called working tax credits. Now, working tax credits would calculate up to about £74 a week, which is good, which is great, because I'd get my wage with an increase by 1 hour. I would get my child tax credit still, and I would also get my child benefit, and I would still get this new thing, working tax credit, which would be, yeah, if I had that situation, I would get my wage, which would obviously go up by an hour a day, so that's at £21, so I'll be up to £130 roughly a week. I haven't worked out the tax on that. Plus another £70, which is working tax credits, so that would give me £200 a week. That would be £200 a week just for my work and my working tax credits. Then on top of that, I would get my child benefit and my child tax credits. Total income in that case would be about £280 a week, roughly, after tax, which would be great. This is all completely irrelevant because there isn't that many hours in the day that they want me to work. I thought it would be fun to work out, if you were working 15 hours a week, how much you would have to earn to wipe out your job seekers allowance, your actual allowance amount, which is £114.85 in our case, and be able to get that £10, or how you would be able to grow that, you know, so that you would be earning, what would you have to earn per hour to make it more money than your job seekers allowance, to make it worth your while to go out and get a job, basically. And it works out that it's between £10 and £12 an hour, depending on how many hours you're working. 15 hours, it's about £10.52. If you're working the regular sort of hours that you might be able to get at a job working 2 days a week, which is normally 14 hours, 7 hours a day, then you would have to earn £11.72 per hour to make it just match your job seekers allowance income, so you can get that £10 extra. To make it any more, to earn more than what you're getting and going out to work, you'd have to earn more than £11.72 an hour, make it worth your while, not just staying on benefits, doing nothing, sitting at home. Does it make any sense? But anyway, hopefully that's been reasonably clear. I'm going to try and cut this together and make some sense out of it for you guys. I'm going to do 2 videos out of this. I'm going to put a brief explanation I'm going to put a brief explanation in the vlog, basically saying why I can't go out to work, why I can't take this job on, which is really sucky because I've spent time applying for it.